So welcome back to the show. If you've been following this series, in part one, I laid out the foundation with the whole three buckets. In part two, I showed how alignment and flow can create that financial stability. So now we're going to jump into part three. Today, this is very important. We're going to step from that practical side, okay, into that actual put it into application. How to track each bucket in a simple but repeatable way. This is the part that's going to give you that control, not theory. I've already talked about theory, not hope. When we pray and hope, okay, we got to put some things into action. Today is going to be about actual numbers that you can see and measure. So here's the thing. Most people, and I say most people, we're talking averages, fail financially because they're driving blind. Once you start tracking your buckets, everything is going to start to sharpen. Your awareness improves, your confidence is going to grow, and your decisions are going to move from that emotional side that money takes us to into that strategic side. So let's get into it. So today we're going to start talking about those tracking changes and how everything is going to come together. Tracking is not about being obsessive, okay? Having that OCD, all the towels got to be a certain level, the canned goods got to be turned around a certain way. We're not talking about that. Tracking is going to give you that clarity. So when you track your buckets, you catch all those little leaks. You see where money starts to drift left or right, up or down. You stay honest with yourself, okay? And then you start to gain that momentum month after month after month. Okay, think about budgeting. When we think budgeting, we think about being restrictive, okay? And I can only do this, I can only do that, okay? Let's get away from that. In reality, tracking your money is liberating. It's gonna open up all of these new doors because you're gonna realize, man, I actually have more money than I thought I had in the beginning. When you know where everything sits, you stop worrying about the unknown. That right there, that mental freedom alone is going to improve your decision-making process when it comes to your finances. So here's the truth. People don't get overwhelmed because money is complicated. People get overwhelmed because they can't see what is happening with their money. And we're going to pull that veil back. We're going to open this thing up so you can actually see where your money is going and what's actually happening with it. And budgeting, that solves the whole problem. So the tracking tool we need, let's think about it like this. All these apps, there's apps, okay? And a lot of them can get expensive, and they should, because when you start looking at apps, if you have an app that locks everything in place and you're only paying for it one time, apps cost a lot of money. That's why I moved away from the app. Not just that, it was kind of restrictive on what I could say. You know, you got those two companies over there. I'm not going to mention those names, but I don't want to be restrictive. I want to be able to give information and just let it flow. So they can get expensive. And here's the thing, you only need some basic tools to get you on track. And we can start adding stuff later on. So a simple monthly snapshot is going to get you where you want to be. This is going to give you that bird's eye view of your three buckets. You don't got to be fancy here. Just a one-page snapshot with different columns that you can fill in. We're talking about the starting balance, the ending balance, the money that's coming in, the money that's being spent. And then at the bottom, you just have some notes of, you know, maybe some days you felt a little constrained or you felt like you just wanted to blow money. Just a little notes at the bottom. That's all you really need. You don't need to go above and beyond. You don't need to spend all this extra money on all these different apps. This is the health report. This right here is going to let you see exactly what's happening with your money. And then you're just going to review this thing every 30 days. All right. So the flow map, it shows your money, how it's going to move from bucket to bucket. It's going to be that income, liquid, locked, and living. Income, liquid, locked, and living. The income comes in to the liquid moves to the locked, and that locked moves to the living. And like I talked about in my second session, that living bucket, that's the one that gets us in trouble the most. And if you follow the same route every month, you're going to reduce that chaos. Again, it's not about being rigid or restrictive. You will find that when you're tracking your money, things actually open up. You actually end up having more money. I know that sounds crazy. It's like, okay, if I'm tracking my money, I'm gonna be told I can't do this. I'm gonna be told I can't do that. Well, maybe in the beginning, but I promise you, as time goes on, you're gonna find that it's actually opened things up for you. This map is gonna become your GPS. It tells your money exactly where to go. Right now, most of us is just living paycheck to paycheck, living based on our desires and our emotions. Don't you think it would make more sense to tell your money exactly what you want it to do? I agree. I think so too. So last time I talked about automated transfers. Anything that's not automated will eventually break down. Automation and all of these computers and all of this stuff that we have today is structure. Don't think of it again as something being rigid. It's structure. Structure becomes discipline, and then that discipline is what's going to help create that freedom. And then freedom gives you room to maneuver and do things. I know that's a military term, maneuvering, but hey, still Army. So now let's talk about that bucket one again. That's our liquid bucket. Again, income comes in, liquid money. Your liquid bucket is your access point. This is where money enters into the system, okay? Many families either overload this bucket or they pull the money out way too quick and then it's gone. All right, this is how you're going to track that the right way. Step one, we're going to decide how much liquid money you want to keep on hand. What do you need? For example, let's look at some things. $1,000 if you're just starting out, or 1 month of expenses if you're, stabilizing. 2 months if you want that cushion. How much money do you think you need? Okay, you just have to figure that part out right there. If your liquid bucket has more than the limit, that excess money must flow out automatically. And where's it going to flow to? It's going to go into the deposits, into a percentage to be locked, a percentage for living, a percentage to stay to refill for that next month. This prevents that money from piling up, because when we got money piling up in that liquid bucket and we see it, well, over there, right there, is somebody waiting in the pocket for you. That's good old Amazon waiting. For me, that's my arch nemesis. Okay, not in a bad way, but that 2-day shipping or that same day, unfortunately, I've taken too many liberties there. So I definitely want to make sure I have the right amount in my liquid bucket. We don't want that money piling up, because if it piles up and we see it, more than likely we're going to use it, especially around this time, around the holiday seasons. And then review it weekly. The liquid bucket is the most active one. So you want to make sure you check this thing out. Just peek at it weekly and then do a very thorough every 30-day review. You check it once a week just to catch things that may be leaking out. Okay, because if we wait till 30 days, we may get hit with something that was like, man, I wish I would have caught this sooner. So start looking at it, once a week, peeking at it, seeing where the money's going. Then every 30 days, do a deep dive into it and make sure you just plug up any leaks that may be out there. All right, so now let's move on to bucket number 2, that locked money. Your locked bucket, if you've looked at number 1, my first class, and then the second class in this series, you'll remember that locked bucket, this is that long-term engine. Here's the thing. Nobody wants to talk about it. We sell billions of dollars on beauty products and face lotions and all this stuff because nobody wants to talk about getting old. Everybody's going to get old. We're going to get old. Our bodies are going to degrade. But guess what? We all need money to live. This bucket grows your future, and it's very important. Might not seem like it's important right now, but this is going to be important. All right. You're going to hit 50 if you're lucky, 50, 60, 70, maybe 80, maybe even 90. If this bucket is weak, your stability is going to be weak. You're going to start stressing out. You may find yourself passing out them little stickers saying, hey, welcome to the store. All right. And that may be okay. That may be something you want to do. Even with your bucket full, you may want to keep yourself busy. But ask yourself this, wouldn't it make more sense to be passing out those stickers because you want to, not because you have to? All right. So here's how to track that. We're going to automate those contributions. Make sure that money's going in there automatically. You should never try to remember to save money. Automation keeps your future protected even when things get hectic. And believe you me, with doom scrolling, all of these different streaming services, life's gonna come at you 1,000 miles an hour. Wouldn't it make sense to just have that money automated, already set off to the side, knowing that it's going over there, and we're gonna pay attention to it, but not having to pay attention to each time it happens, okay? So the next step, track that growth every month. You don't gotta look at it weekly. This one, you can look at it monthly, all right? Just enough that you can see the money's going over here and the money is moving in a specific direction, which hopefully is going up. That long-term growth, we all know, is going to move slowly. That monthly snapshot is going to give you the opportunity to see it. How much did you contribute? How much growth occurred? And what is your new total? Again, that new total should be going like this. That trajectory should be, straight up, growing. And what's going to happen is when you start seeing that growth, even if it's small, guess what's going to happen? It's going to boost that confidence. Now, you're not growing that money to go build a fence or to go blow money somewhere else. You're growing that money for your future. Remember, that bucket, that's why they call it the lock bucket. The lock bucket is for your future and for your future only. Because there's going to come a point where you're going to look at that lock bucket within them 30 days and you're going to start seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and your car might be making some noises. Well, too bad, so sad. Don't go get the new vehicle. Okay, now the next one is we're going to protect that integrity. This bucket should never be touched for lifestyles. If you borrow from it, even if it's for a car, even if it's for an emergency, you're gonna break the system. The only reason you're checking that bucket every month is for how much you contributed, if the growth, what growth occurred, and the new total. Don't touch it for anything, not even emergencies. Tracking just helps you stay honest with that bucket. Okay, now for the fun bucket, the wow bucket, the living money bucket. This is the bucket people struggle with the most. Living money covers our lifestyle. And I've seen in a matter of months, a Starbucks being built on one corner, and then it was on like a couple of blocks down, then a couple blocks down, and then another couple blocks down. 4 Starbucks within like a couple of miles. Craziness, okay? And here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with that. But that living money is where we get in the most trouble. But this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you how to create that stability and get away from all that chaos. So you're gonna list your fixed expenses, okay? That's gonna be your rent. That's your mortgage, your utilities, subscriptions, the ones you have to have, your insurance, the phone, the transportation, that gas, the car payments. Those are the things that don't change. That's why they call them fixed expenses. List those out, no matter how hard it is. Write them down, okay? And here's the thing. I'm gonna give you a budget. I'm gonna put the budget in the area that you can actually download the budget. Once you have that in there, you don't need to adjust it, okay? Because those are fixed expenses. If you're paying rent and a mortgage, you know that's locked in, okay? Unless you're planning on increasing your interest rate and wanting to pay more, I don't think nobody's doing that. Now, number 2, you're gonna assign caps for variable expenses, okay? The variables, that's your groceries, that's that eating out. If you have children, kids get bored sitting in the house, so you get kid activities, different entertainment. Now, there's a difference between entertainment subscriptions, okay, and a subscription that you have to have. Entertainment subscription, that's your Netflix and the Hulus and Disney. You don't have to have all of those, okay? Your subscription that you have to have, that could be some of your medical expenses that you are constantly having to pay. That stays a certain amount, okay? Those entertainment subscriptions, you have to set boundaries on those, because if you're paying attention, you'll see sometimes you get notifications, well, this package is being increased by this, or this is going up by this. You set the tone, you set the trend on how much it goes up. And again, do you really need 4, 5, 6 different streaming services? Maybe some people say yes, some people say no. I would personally say no. Find a couple that work for you and stick to that, okay? Now, Tracking those categories is going to show you where the little things creep in. And they will start creeping in because we're up against something that's very powerful. We're up against our own internal desires. And unfortunately, a lot of times our own desires went out. Well, we're going to continue to push back against that. And this one, you're going to review it every 30 days. This review tells you if your lifestyle is growing faster than that money coming in. Okay. Most people discover that their living bucket grows slightly and silently without permission. It just starts to creep up, even though you didn't tell it to. It's just, we forget some things that pop in. We go to the store and we supposed to get the bread, the eggs, the milk, and the cheese, and we end up with chips and dip and all these other things and some chocolate. All right. So don't let those silent things slightly creep up. You dictate. Okay. Adulting is hard. That's what it's called, being an adult. Okay. But only a few of us get to do it. All right. Tracking is what's going to help expose things a lot quicker, as opposed to just stuff just happening to you and you're 6, 7, 8 months into it and you're like, where's my money going? Or that whole paycheck to paycheck. So let's look at a real 30-day tracking example. Let's walk through it's going to be real simple. A household brings in $5,000. They set the system like this. 15% is going to go to locked. Okay. Fixed amount of that is going to go to living. That's going to be $1,200. Take care of all of those expenses. And that liquid bucket is going to be capped at $1,000. So now we track 30 days. Liquid bucket stays steady at $1,000. Lock bucket grew by the contributions plus the market growth. The living bucket increased slightly, exposing a leak they get to fix on the next month. 1 month of tracking solves problems that went unnoticed for years. By month 3, the systems become natural. It starts to flow. By month 6, the confidence replaces that stress. By month 12, the family has real financial freedom and real financial stability. And this is when you start feeling good. And you're like, man, that's 12 months. Guess what? Not having a direction, the 12 months is still going to happen. At least you're setting the tone and setting the stage for direction, as opposed to just sitting back and allowing those 12 months to creep up and you got holes, leaks, and there's no stability. That is the power of simple, consistent tracking. And again, I'm gonna put a tracker down there so you can actually have, and you can download it for yourself. When you track consistently, you know how you can spend your money. You know how much to save. You know when something is off, and you can get that opportunity to make all of these decisions without fear. The future, the one that you set, becomes more predictable because you've measured the present. Let me say that again. The future becomes predictable because the present is something that you've measured. You cannot build that generational wealth on guesswork. Even if you have insurance policies that's, getting this guaranteed interest rate and this cash value, if you're not tracking that, if you're not paying attention to it, yes, it's going to grow, but you may see some of that growth and may want to pull some money out and go do something else with it. Tracking turns guesswork into strategy. That's big. Okay. Let's get away from this guesswork. Let's get into that strategy. Let's start changing the way we think about things and stop all of this paycheck to paycheck living. Let's track so we can stop guessing and we can strategize and we can move into that financial freedom realm. Okay. So now we're going to move into part 4 next week. And hopefully at this point, you're starting to get a big picture of everything that's going on. In the next episode, we're going to go deeper. And you're like, man, how far can we go into this? Well, here's the thing. I want to talk about stabilizing your lifestyle money permanently. Also want to talk about creating a personal wealth map for your family. And then we'll walk through how to adjust your buckets as the income changes. Because hopefully you don't stay, if you're making 102 a year, you don't want to stay at 102. Hopefully you're getting promoted. Hopefully you're looking at starting an LLC and you have a tax EIN number and you're bringing in more income from those side hustles, okay? I never said that's bad. If you looked at number 1 and number 2, I said that people do that thinking that's going to fix everything. Side hustles are not bad. Having a business, home-based business is not bad. It's all about how you structure that home-based business. And this is what a system here is going to become long-term and sustainable. We're going to stop pushing past that 12-month period, that 1 year. We're going to be looking in the 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year. Next thing you know, we're just living. All right. And we're passing this down, not just that generational wealth, but that generational knowledge down to our kids, our grandkids, and nephews and nieces. Okay. So if today brought you some clarity, share this with somebody trying to get control of their finances. And if you haven't seen part 1 or part 2, please go back and watch those so this whole system starts to connect. And then remember, your money becomes predictable when your tracking becomes consistent. So I'll see you in the next episode. Hope this helps. God bless, and let's continue to get that financial freedom. Take care.